Hey everyone, welcome to The Journal, your spot for Centennial Docs. I'm your host, Mikkel Petgrave.
And I'm your host, Lisa Wright, and we're webcasting live from Toronto in Centennial College, and we've got a lot of good stuff lined up for you.
Truly a great show. Join us as we do everything from to get some beauty tips over to freelance photography. We string together some jewelry, and of course, we also got a wonderful jazz quartet coming in.
Hey, and don't forget, we've got our reporter Alessia Peluso with a beautiful story about the light show that took place at this year's Nuit Blanche.
Great. And we're going to be wrapping the show today with Rashid Hakim, who's going to give us a live in-studio poetry session.
That sounds really good, Mikhail. What beauty tips did you say that you had earlier?
Oh, those beauty tips. Well, our story producer, Arma Yari, was able to hook up with a hairstylist and makeup artist right here in Toronto named Bene Pham. And you know what? She got an exclusive interview, and she's about to show it to us.
That's really cool. Let's have a look.
I do beauty editor for Amazing Canadian Fashion, and I also do their makeup there for a lot of their shoots. And how I started was I did a fashion show for them. From there on, I just contact them, and I kept close by, and I was up. Everything I did wasn't for money. I just did it because I wanted to do it. And from there on, they knew how committed I was to work with them, and they just kept me from there on. How did I start? Well, it all started when I was younger. I was always into art. I loved it. So that got me into fashion. That's what I was pursuing in my life in the beginning. But I knew that it was really hard to get into because everybody was telling me it's hard to get make money out of that. So my second choice of life, my career, was hair. I love doing hair. I like to play with my friends' hair. And I did do some weddings before I even got into the industry. So that's the first thing I did was hair. And then somehow after high school, I just realized, you know what, let me just try makeup because I have no clue about makeup and I wanted to try it out. So I went into makeup and I loved it. I love celebrities. They're always changing their hair and makeup, getting dressed, different outfits. That's where it got me. And when I'm watching the fashion runways, that's what I like. Because when you look at the new trends, you want to see what's new, right? And you want to do the same. And for me, I always mimic everything. If I see really cool eyes or makeup or some outfit, everybody wants to be the models or whatever, right? And I do like that too. I love making everybody pretty.
Today I'm here for my trial for my bridal makeup, which my wedding is in 3 weeks. I found Bene online and I called her up and we made the appointment for today, and she did an incredible job with my makeup. I couldn't have asked for anything else. It's perfect, so it's great. So now I know what I'm gonna have for my wedding.
Right now, I'm happy what I do. I do a lot of bridal makeup, I do fashion makeup, and that's what I want to do. I want to push it a little further, get out there, my name out there, and work with other magazines as well. And I'm also in school for fashion. I do want to do that on the side. I love it, and I can't stop doing it. And also, right now, I just gave an offer for a salon, and he accepted it, and I'm gonna open a salon soon.
That's really exciting. Way to go, Bene Pham. I know where I'm going to book my next appointment.
For sure. Anyways, the next piece is about saxophones. And saxophones are one of those woodwinds with the abilities to give you uplifting, robust sounds and still take you on a nostalgic ride.
Well, reporter Cole Armstrong gives us a look at the Landsdowne Saxophone Quartet.
1, 2, 3, up. When we first started, we were all girls, 4 girls in a saxophone quartet.
Yep.
A lot of people liked that. Although we didn't really try to make a big deal out of it, that's just sort of how it happened. When we switched musicians, Mike and Phil came in to play Barry and alto. I think the dynamic did change a lot.
Just keep going.
What? Are we doing the top, the very beginning one?
Let's do the last one. Can we do the last one?
Bar 4.
Maybe you and Jordan should tune first, and then we'll just go up from there.
We needed money. That's right.
Hence
So
the grant application.
yes. Problem with the commissioning grants is that you get the symphony orchestra. Toronto Symphony Orchestra is applying for this grant. Orchestras across Canada are applying for this grant, and they're $1 million organizations applying for the same grant that we're applying for.
That was music for the ears.
It's so tough for Toronto artists to get proper funding.
It's so tough. But a matter of fact, the Canadian Music Fund has been donating over $27 million for the last 5 years to help out independent camera artists. However, that puts a setback for diverse genres.
Exactly. So that would mean like the Landsdowne Quartet.
Just like them. But we're talking even bigger orchestras, ones that already have thousands of dollars. But you know what? They have first priorities for these grants. But guess what, gang? Hope is not lost, because still on the journal to come, we still got Josh Mele, who's still going to be here to give us some photography freelance points. And we still got jewelry designer Jackie Hosten coming in.
And don't forget, poetry artist Rashid Akeem will be right here in the studio to show us some of his work. So, in a bit later.
Meet Josh Mele, photographer extraordinaire. On this segment of the show, we're going to be exploring what he does on a daily basis.
I graduated from political science at York University, and I took that degree because I found it really interesting, people's interactions, and I saw it as like an interesting system to explain how the world works. There was a point where I was literally just walking around thinking about my day and about what the rest of my days might look like, and it occurred to me that photojournalism would be an interesting career choice and maybe even a viable one for me.
Photographers, they work on their own, and you can look through the viewfinder with both eyes open. It's very helpful, to see what's going on around you, so that if something isn't going to bump into you or you into something else. And, keep the eye open, see what's going on. Maybe see what's about to walk into your print. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just think about that street back and lean a little bit toward you and face.
Eventually, I ended up living and working in Israel, and was working for an agency, a couple different agencies at different times. Other times I was working completely as freelance. And seeing that was fascinating, very, very interesting to see how people behaved in situations where there was intense conflict going on with guns or with mortars or tanks, or sometimes even just with like rocks and slingshots. And it was really, really interesting to see how daily life would continue for these people.
Lisa, isn't it interesting how Josh Mele is able to transition from war photography over to the urban setting so nicely?
Yeah, I mean, moving from the surroundings of war into concrete jungle really should be easy. I mean, especially during rush hour downtown. That's a bit hectic.
Of course, it's crazy down there, especially with all those cars. It really is a war scene. They're dodging and weaving out of traffic. But you know what else is crazy, Lisa?
What else is crazy, Mikhail?
The Nuit Blanche show. I was down there this year, and thousands of people had the streets packed. I mean, everywhere. The art exhibit was crazy. But we got an insight with Alessia Peluso, who went down by City Hall to give us an insight on the gigantic light show that took place, and also give us an interview with light designer David Turian.
For one sleepless night, the city is transformed by more than 500 artists to celebrate Toronto's 4th annual Contemporary Art Festival. We're here at the corner of Dundas and McCall, where we're going to start our tour around the city for 2009's Nuit Blanche. Nuit Blanche is an annual all-night arts festival. The idea of a nighttime festival has spread around the world since 1997. At Nuit Blanche, you could find museums, private and public art galleries, and other cultural institutions open and free of charge, with the center of the city itself being turned into an art gallery, providing space for installations, performances, themed social gatherings, and other activities. In 2006, Nuit Blanche came to Toronto, attracting around 450,000 people. This year, it is expected to almost double that. The downtown core is divided into 3 zones, each one representing a theme made up by 40 different projects.
Everyone's just out in Toronto having fun. The weather's nice. When I see all this stuff, it gets me interested into art. It's live everywhere. I was here last year. I was at Yonge and Dundas Square last year. Everywhere is just live and it's good. Look at all the Torontonians just happy.
Every year, there is one main attraction for the whole festival. This year, it is David Turian's Beautiful Light 4-letter word machine at Nathan Phillips Square.
Light's kind of it's an elemental force, and in these pieces the last few years, to me, it kind of represents this purity and life force in the body. It's something that in sheer intensity, in its sheer purity, in its absolute white form, obliterates everything else. Then I try to use it in a way that's intimidating at times. It puts you into a situation where the light is so powerful, it's almost threatening.
If you missed this year's Nuit Blanche, be sure to check it out next October.
And thanks, Alessia, for that report from Nuit Blanche.
That really was a labor of love. You know, it's not like that you get to see great artwork every single day. And you know what? It's so hard to put it all together, Lisa. But when you put it all together, it's usually nothing short of spectacular.
Right, and there's a lot of work that goes into creating a light show.
A lot of work. But guys, don't take your hands off that play button just yet. Because coming up, we still get a first-hand look at independent jeweler designer Jackie Halstead. And of course, we still have Rashid Akeem here in the studio.
So keep it on play with The Journal.
My name is Jackie Halstead, and I am a jewelry designer from Toronto. About 15, 20 years ago, when I got a job at a jewelry company / museum, well, it was more like an art gallery. And I went there, And at first I was a little scared because who thinks they can make jewelry? And then when I realized that I was making things and people were buying them, I knew I was on to something. I rekindled my passion 15 years later, and this is the result. This stuff I made a year ago, and I'm really happy with myself. My last inspiration is by a man named Art Smith. And he is a really big inspiration, and I think I'm gonna start paying more attention to him and learning as much as I can about him. I play around with asymmetrical, and the other day I was doing some market research and people saw that my work had an asymmetrical look to it. And I thought to myself, well, I've succeeded in people knowing what I'm about. I was very fortunate to go on last summer. I went there to volunteer, but when I went to Ghana, I realized that there was so much more to offer in terms of my growth as a woman and my growth as an artist. I found the colors refreshing, and at that time I could really see the true beauty of Black women. Usually when people see it, they like it and they buy it. But I know I can't rely on luck, and I have to be very strategic in how I pursue the jewelry making and how I sell the jewelry. And I want the jewelry to be sold online. I want the jewelry sold in, at parties, because I know that the parties work, and I've been told by women that as long as they have the time, they will go to the parties. So that's my biggest problem, making sure people have the time. I don't make anything that I see on the road. I don't make anything that I see, in stores. Of course I have to be mindful of what other people are doing, use the colors that are, in for the season.
Wow, that was a piece from Tanya Halstead. But to change gears, in the studio with us today, we have Rashid Akeem here to give us a poetry session. Take it away, sir.
Hello, my name is Rashid Akeem. Thank you for your time. This is a poem called Greatness. Maybe I should settle for ordinary. Come up short, just short of legendary. Maybe I should be what they expect, saving the glory and greatness for one of the next. Maybe I should just be another name that comes and goes, a ghost of the past the future will never know. To succumb to my doubt, question destiny, lay my eyes upon a mirror, revealing my enemy. I find myself often losing faith, letting fear to take its place. Question myself. But who are we? Dare question the divine plan of God. I was told, with great faith comes great strength to conquer all odds. So I'll stop all that. Take the path what all men search for in life, taking the chance and rolling the dice. To settle for nothing, become nothing but legendary. For death is forever, and life is but temporary. For let fear in is to waste time. Precious, incredible, priceless time. To let the darkness of doubt is to enslave the beautiful mind. So I'll break away from the norm and seek out my own path, rising from nothing like the phoenix I grew from the ash. Yeah, I'll rid myself of the fears that I might not make it and be a star that shine bright in all and forever have greatness. I'm Rashid Akeem. Thank you for your time.
Well, Rashid, that was amazing. It's great to have you here on the journal. I just want to ask you a couple questions. Now, what inspires you to write this poetry?
What inspires me to write poetry is everyday experiences, whatnot, relating with people, connecting with people, whatnot, and just taking with that and actually being able to relate with them. So, like, this poetry actually, I feel, helps them out because I know it helps me out.
So, when do you feel that you're most creative in the sense of writing your poetry?
I strongly feel most creative, actually, is after I have a moment with somebody that I feel strongly about. Then when you get that strong emotional feeling, when I say a breakup, or even like you just got inspired off that new Will Smith movie, I Am Legend. It's that inspiration.
So when you are writing your poetry, do you feel it comes on sporadically, these emotions, given from those circumstances?
Sporadically, it'll come on, basically, it can come up anywhere. I could be on the bus, I could be coming here, I could be after I go home, after this interview right now. I just write a poem about this experience.
So have you found that you've been given any feedback from your poems?
Using the web, one I feel the best tools of time. I put a lot of out there. I got a lot of feedback I didn't expect to get back from people from all around the world.
Awesome.
Well, you said earlier you connect with certain people. Who are some of the people that connect with you in your poems?
Some people that connect with me, actually someone I actually look up to, Bono Muhammad. He also a fellow student that went to my high school, Oakwood Collegiate, and he basically gave me some advice, whatnot, when I went to a trip with him. And it was actually really dope that he actually taught to me and actually recognized me as a poet. And also many people at my peers, whatnot, I read it to them, and it's surprising that they can connect. And with the web, whatnot, you could like meet someone that lives in France you can never meet in your life, and they connect with you. That's dope.
Awesome. Well, it was really great having you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good. Well, sadly, this is the end of the journal, so I want to make sure you guys tune in next time, and we'll be here.
The journal. Keeping it locked here.